Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. Thank you to everybody for sharing the videos and subscribing. Means a lot to me, so I just wanted to say thank you. And big thank you to all those people that have rejoined the members area. There's a great members video going out there tomorrow for you all. Right, today I'm joined by Kent, the Hardcore's Hardcore, all the way from Belfast in Northern Ireland. How are you doing, Kent?
Good afternoon, Russell.
What t-shirt we got on today?
I've got my Wildcard boxing t-shirt, but I've a couple of new t-shirts ordered this week, so a couple of surprises on the way. So I'm looking forward to it until they come. I'm just sick of wearing the same t-shirts all the time. I have to get more. I have to get more variety. I don't want to get any abuse for wearing the same t-shirts all the time.
What hat you got on?
I've got my war hat on.
War Chisora.
It's the trademark. I couldn't come on the channel and not wear it now, Russell. It's like we're creatures of habit now.
Creatures of habit. So that's a good one, that mate. You sound like a boxer, ex-boxer I know from Bowlby. He used to say that we're creatures of habit. Humans adapt and all that, and we're creatures of habit. But anyway, there's a lot going on in the sport of boxing. I think we should start with. We'll start with the John Fury press conference. We should really with the Tommy Fury, Jake Paul press conference. The John Fury press conference. Let me just get this coat off of that. You start off, keep talking for a couple of minutes, and let me know what you think.
Where do you want to start? I think the whole thing was the numbers to this show for BT. You know, BT haven't had any real big pay-per-view apart from the Tyson fights this last couple of years. They haven't been bringing in any real pay-per-view apart from that. And this is a big chance for Frank to get a bit of money in on pay-per-view on BT. And the audience they're targeting is probably the teenagers, because I don't even think the casual boxing fans would want to watch this. So the whole Jake Paul, Logan, I don't even know which one it is, to be honest. But their audience is a younger audience, a teenage audience. And it was just absolute chaos. You know, Tyson hardly said a word. John was there and Tommy was there. And to be honest, I actually think Tommy's a nice lad. You know, he hasn't came out across in any video, you know, nasty in any way or arrogant. Tyson's, you know, we know Tyson cuts a great promo. He speaks very, very well. He knows boxing probably better than anyone. Then there's John, and John, like, John's done a lot of good videos for BT. They've invested a lot of money in productions, like that video he done, the Fury Dynasty. It had over 2 million views, and it came across pretty well in it. You know, if you're not a boxing fan and you don't know a lot about boxing, you would have found that documentary entertaining. Then from that to the other day was just, it was like Jekyll and Hyde, and it was just, how did it get that out of hand, Russell? How did it get so out of hand?
Well, John's not used to people speaking to him like that. Obviously, he's a man of violence, and he's not used to people disagreeing with him, because I mean, if you look there, once he started going on one, nobody reined him in, did they? Because they're all frightened to death of him, because he's created this cartoon character that he's this big road man killer. You know, I'm John Fury, big fighting man. Women love me, men want to be me. Pop, pop, bang, end of bum. It's created this aura, right, around him, that nobody dare approach him and all that. YouTubers are going up there to film, and I've heard they're frightened to death. Nobody's asking him any proper questions and all like that. And now he's coming out, instead of staying silent and shutting his big mouth, because that's what you've got, John, a big mouth. Instead of doing that, he's coming out doing videos on other channels, going on about drug testing and things like that. I mean, they're the last ones to be shouting off about drug testing, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? I don't know, man. I'm sick of reading it, man, to be honest.
It was disappointing, it was it just made boxing in the UK look really bad. The last couple of weeks we have had the whole Terry Harper, we had Kid Galahad, the week before the Frank Warren show. Those shows had absolutely near enough nobody at them, ticket wise,
No.
nothing. And then you have that there. It just makes boxing in the UK just look really real. It's like people are watching it and saying, "Is this what boxing in the UK is all about?" It was absolutely terrible. And do you think, like, if it was somebody else come on and said that there, that the press conference would have been cut there and then. That would not have went out. It would definitely not have went out.
It were too bob, wasn't it? It looked too bob, didn't it?
Even the production of it, in BT, didn't look great. I know the fight's coming up, but with travel restrictions and all this and all, see all that on TV interview press conference. They didn't even need to do that press conference, because it's not like it's proper boxing fans. Proper boxing fans will tune in and watch any press conference. But this is a completely different audience, and it didn't even really need to do it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, mate. I see where you're coming from. Well, this is how I look at it, right? That fight don't need selling anyway, does it really?
No, definitely not.
It sells itself. So why they had to do that, I don't know. And why would somebody be given a prominent position on a press conference like that? It's only father. Did you hear Kell Brooks' dad speak like that at that press conference yesterday? We didn't, did we?
No. I think, Russell, I remember when Clark Frampton turned pro and with McGuigan, one of the first things that they did was media training. And they done media training, and they done stuff on how, what to say and things like that there. And I think a lot of management companies now are training fighters. I was speaking to Cameron about it a couple of weeks ago, and Cameron would say to me, there's a lot of athletes now actually getting media trained before they actually go on a YouTube channel or on TV, because if you say something completely stupid, you're not going to sell, and people are going to switch off.
Yeah. You're probably right, mate. You're probably right. I don't want to repeat the comments because I'm like a airborne repeater going on about what he said, but the comments, I mean, he's come out now and he's saying that it's banter and stuff like that. And what is that banter? What, doing somebody's missus while he's stood watching? That's vile, isn't it? That's not banter.
It's not something that you want to hear at a boxing press conference, to be honest. It's not something you want to hear in the sell fight. It actually would probably turn people off. I've no interest in it in the first place, but I definitely wouldn't watch it now. So wouldn't it just doesn't interest me in any way, shape, or form. I want Tommy to win, to be honest. He's a UK fighter, and there was a lot of stuff before it. And what actually happened, Russell, is what I think happened was he went into the press conference wound up about world champions on BT, basically saying that Tommy was going to get beat by Jake or Logan or whatever he's called. So that was the thing I think had him wound up even before the press conference.
Yeah.
But to be honest, if everybody in BT was saying, yeah, Tommy's going to win this fight easily, people aren't going to tune in and watch it. So if a BT pundit comes on and saying, yeah, Tommy's going to get beat, well, people were going to say, well, I'm going to spend £20 to watch this because it's going to be an even match. So it wouldn't make sense for everybody to just agree with what John said on that, because nobody would want to watch it. They want to see something that's kind of half competitive entertaining.
Do you think that Tommy's going to get a decision if it goes to points in America? Yes or no?
No, no chance.
And what do you think will happen if Tommy loses on points with a screen robbery?
There will be a rematch. If it draws, you made a good point the other day there. Them guys actually have got a platform now in boxing where they're actually promoting. They're getting big numbers. They're paying fighters a lot of money. They're paying them on time. They're not paying them, like the board, that 28 days after fight. They're bringing in viewership. So I don't think that decision, there's no chance that they'll get a decision in America. No chance.
Jake Paul pays them on night,
Yeah, and you have to respect that because it's getting the fighters money. It's getting the readies there and then, really, isn't it?
Okay, then. Well, we spoke about the adventures of Big John Fury, big fighting man, in the ring or on the hard road, for free or for money. I'm willing to prove it to anybody. Step into my space and I'll knock you out as look at you. Right, not knocked anybody out. But what I will say while I'm on YouTube, anybody who's out there, out of these 100 men that John Fury beat on the hard road, any one of you want to come forward, I've got somebody that's willing to pay you cash. So come on here and tell your story. That's because I know for a fact that there isn't nobody that he's fought in a bare knuckler, because nobody's come forward and nobody will. It's pure lies. And people are being allowed to get away with inventing knackers, whether it's for banter or for views or whatever, and creating these alter egos. It's a load of crap. All right, he never had a fight in his life. He may have punched a few people who didn't want to fight him and give good hidings out, like a bully that he is. Isn't that right, John Fury? You haven't had a bare knuckle fight. If you have, let's see some people come forward and say, I fought John Fury. And let's see some footage. And who were the fair play people who were there when it happened? Never happened, didn't happen, would never happen. We'll draw a line under it there. Right. So that's John Fury put to bed for now. Lopez against that guy who's just beat him. Bosa, whatever it's called, whatever. What do you think to it? Great fight, wasn't it, Ken?
It was an absolutely marvelous fight. It was what boxing needs. Boxing needs these big fights. They need thrillers like that. And
yeah.
I've seen a lot of pundits on at the weekend talking about it was a big shock. Okay, so you take out the Lomachenko win on Lopez, and you've got Richard Comey, and you've got Jesse Maldonado. That's his two best wins. You've got the Lomachenko win. Outside of that, there's nothing really there that jumps out at you. Was that fight actually a shock?
What's what?
Was that fight win by Kambosos actually a shock win?
No, really, not really, because Lomachenko had one arm, didn't he, when he lost to Lopez?
There was an injury there, yeah, and all week, to be honest, I hardly really heard anything from Lopez Jr. It was just Lopez Sr. all week. He came out and he just rubbished Josh Taylor in maybe 3 or 4 vignettes, just rubbishing him. Like, I got to the point where I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, is this guy actually on the same planet? He reminds me of John Ruiz's coach, Stoney. Absolutely on a different planet. He actually at one stage said that he was looking at Lopez moving up the weight and fighting Canelo. Madness. So that's all I heard all week, him talking and saying all this stuff. And I think Kambosos just done nothing and just got his head down, and he done the job on the night. And I think they got a real shock, when Kambosos was hitting them back in the early exchanges. They were an absolute shock that somebody was actually standing up to them. It was a well-deserved win. It wasn't. I had Gambosis winning by 3 rounds.
Okay, what do you think to Eddie Hearn in fight week? He wore Team Lopez all week. Lopez was going to knock him out in 1 round. He was hanging out the back of them. And then once Lopez lost, he was in the other corner and he was hanging around with them all night, wasn't he? I mean, there's no shame in that man, is there?
No, Eddie runs with the foxes and he hunts with the hounds. It's like he knows now that he's got options. I'm sure he's got options on Gambosis. The fact that fight happened, he probably has a 3-fight option on him. And because the American market, he's been frozen out of that. The guys don't want to work with him in America. Yeah. He's got that Australia-Asia market now. And that's a real big viewership over there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Gambosis' next fight was in Australia. Australia have put on, like, you go back over the days of like Jeff Fennick and stuff. Costa Zoo, they were big draws in Australian boxing, and that's a really big market, Russell. So it is a real big market.
Eddie would love to do something over there because it's not working out for him in America, is it?
No, you look at last week, he actually signed Dempsey McKenna, the heavyweight, the Australian heavyweight who fought on DAZN last week. So you can see he's trying to build something over in the Australian market, because America is just, they're not playing ball with them. But I think if you look at it, I wasn't too impressed with Gambosis against Lee Selby. It just goes to show that, Lee Selby pushed pretty hard at the end of that fight, and it actually enhances Lee Selby a wee bit more, after that fight, because he went on and he's unified that division. That's, I think, the only thing he needs to do now is, we've got Devin Haney, the email champion, the WBC email champion. So hopefully that'll be a big thing, maybe over in Australia. But yeah, it's typical Eddie, really, isn't it? It's like you're winning, he's ringing you every day, and fighters have said, I remember Scott Quigg turned around saying to him, Eddie, why don't you ring me anymore?
Yeah. He never rung him after Carl Frampton beat him, did he?
No.
That's the nature of the beast, and that's why Eddie Hills is known as the Iceman. 4-0, from Billy Ricky, 3 by way of. Isn't that right, Eduardo? Okay then, so we've done the Lopez, whatever fight, Bamboos. I can't even pronounce the names, can I? Dennis had a world champion Friday night, Jack Massey. You probably know about that, don't you?
Yep. I've said before on the channel, I rate the IBO more now than I would rate the WBA, Russell. I think, the WBA regular, WBA, this WBA, I'm just sick of it. So Jack Massey's won a world title, which is an IBO, and I'm sure Dennis is happy with it. He had a Commonwealth title win as well on that card, Nathaniel Collins, and he had a WBC international on Mark Jeffries. So we had 3 really good wins on that Friday night card, but that was a lot of investment. He had to pay the IBO, he had to pay the Commonwealth board, and he had to pay the WBO. Sorry, it was WBO Global. So he's had to pay them bodies. So he's going to need to get his investment back in those sometime soon.
Yeah. Dennis had a show the day after, and he pulled it on the day. A lot of people are not very happy about it, because Dennis and the board of control are saying they did it for safety reasons and because of the weather and that. But there were 9 shows on within the 30-mile radius, amateur and pro. Do you think it's because of ticket deals? That's what the word is around here.
Well, to be honest, Russell, it doesn't look to me that it's good scheduling. Really, you've a Friday night show that you've invested a lot of money in.
Yeah.
You've IBO, you've Commonwealth. The guy that they actually, Nathaniel, beat was from South Africa. He and his team would have needed to be flown over and put up. Mark Jeffries, WBO Global, the WBO would have needed to have a representative there. So there's sanctioning fees, plus all the losing fighters and all the fighters underneath that. So you look at that and you count up the sanctioning fees, you count up the accommodation, you count up the away fighters and the home fighters, plus you count up the board, you count up the security, you count up the arena or wherever it was. That's a lot of money to the pot. And to put something on the next night where you're having to pay as well, all that, it's really bad business sense, to be honest.
Yeah, but one show we're in Bolton and the next one we're in Sheffield. I know we're only talking, Sheffield, Manchester's kind of thing. It's only over Snake Pass, isn't it? But 30 mile, whatever. But it's too close to each other. And the fighters that they put on at Sheffield, the 7 home fighters, which, looking at it from outside, the 7 home fighters were not ticket sellers, because I know, and you won't put 7 ticket sellers on there, and so you won't put 7 non-ticket sellers or not big ticket sellers on at Ponds Ford the day after you've just had a barnstorming show. We had a great show at Bolton, and but calling out Canelo topped it for me, didn't it? Obviously, but with Jack Massey, and then calling out, saying Crawford should step up. Why would Crawford step up from welterweight to cruiser? I don't get that deal. That's
madness.
Had too much
madness.
to drink. Dennis, lay off the whiskey. But he cancelled the show the day after, and I think that might bite him in arse down the line, with fighters and managers. You know what people are like, don't you, in boxing? It's very fickle, isn't it? 1 minute you're down, 1 minute you're up, then next minute you're back down. So I don't know. Let's hope that ain't the case, because they put some money into it last year, Steve Dennis and Steve Crump, but we're going to see, aren't we? But I didn't think it was his smartest move. I think he should have just rid it out, lost money on the show, and been happy with getting a world champion the night before. Of course, knowing Dennis as I do, he would have been happy with getting a world champion and knowing that he were going to lose on that show anyway. He's been happy. But I think once he got the world champion on the Friday night, I thought he didn't want to push the boat out even more on the Saturday, did he? Because he thought, well, a bird in hand's worth 2 in bush, in it, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a shame, but we're here just to talk about what we're happy with, what we're not happy with. All right, then. Anthony Joshua did an interview in Dubai saying he'd never take step aside, and then 10 minutes into the interview, he said he would take step aside for right money. What does he have a Scooby-Doo about what's going on at the moment in his head? Yes,
no, Russell, I watched your video with Richard on Sunday, and it was a great video, and he's made a lot of good points. I disagree with Richard. I think that he will take step aside, and I'll tell you why. His way of showing that he wanted to win the rematch was him going to America.
Well, let me just check this jacket off. Yeah, go on.
Going around all these different coaches, speaking to people, making it seem that he was doing that. So you go around and you're going around with all these different coaches who have probably completely different techniques, different ways of doing things. You've trained with all these coaches over that period of time, and you come back and you say, what do I do? He's made it even harder for himself, because now it's like, who do I go with? Do I stay? So the clock's ticking. That rematch, I don't know what the time frame for it is. Is it March? He needs to begin in the camp. If he wants to go get back and get ready for Usyk, he's going to need a 12-week camp. So he is, and he's going to need to make a really, really serious decision about the coaching structure, about what he's doing. And because he's met all these people, I don't want to repeat myself, he's just made it so hard for himself. So I don't think he has a clue what he's doing. I don't even think he knows what platform it's going to be on. Never mind the coaching aspect of it.
You think that him and McCracken will part?
I don't think he will. I don't think he will, because, you know, when he got beat by Andy Ruiz, that would have been the time to do it. But he stood by him. You know, Rob has stood by him right the whole way through his amateur days. So it's good. It's good that he's shown some loyalty to him. But if I was a coach and somebody, you know, your client or your boxer brought in another coach over you, it doesn't bide well for me. I think it's then another coach. I just think it adds to the confusion even more, Russell.
You're probably right there, Ken. You're probably right. Does Joshua beat Usyk in rematch, Kent? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Do you think Joshua will take a step aside?
Yes, I do. And I think because the whole training thing, the whole network thing, where it's going to be, you know, we don't know where it's going to be. Could it be in Ukraine? Could it be in America? Could it be in Saudi? I actually think that possibly the fight will be in Saudi, because that's the last big money fight he's going to get. Because, you know, why would he fight in the UK or America when he can go to Saudi and get maybe treble the money? Because if he loses after that, that money will not be there. That big money, that basic big money, as I spoke about in America and UK, will not be there. So I think he'll cash out. If it happens, I think he'll cash out in Saudi.
All right. Okay. Frank Warren's come out and said that Dylan White only got £300,000 for Povetkin rematch. Is that right?
Well, last week, yeah, and he mentioned it on a video. What do you think of that, Russell?
What, for the pay-per-view? Oh. Is that because they got to pay Povetkin a lot of money to get him back over?
What do you think of the whole thing with Frank? Frank seems to take a lot of swipes and beefs with Dillian White. Why is that?
Probably because Dylan White's had an opportunity to fight for world title. He's not various fights back and that, and he's the can man. Anybody who wants it can get it, as long as the shots of pieces are over 40.
Or COVID.
Or got COVID like Povetkin, or recovering from COVID. Look, Dylan White can't keep crying wolf about the WBC no more. He's now taking legal action against him, but surely somebody would have said to him, look, if you're taking legal action against these people, you're not going to get your title shot. I personally don't think Dylan White wants to fight for a world title. I think he just wants to keep picking up good money and doing what he wants. He's a millionaire, but he's not fought for a European title yet. What's how many pay-per-views has he had? 7. What's going on here? I'm fucking lollipop here with BO or something. What's going on here?
I think you've got the whole thing. I find Frank really funny at times, because Frank is actually still talking about where's the B sample. But the thing with the whole, I said it the other week, we spoke about this, and now Dillian White is taking the WBC to arbitration. This could take 18 months to 2 years.
Yeah.
So do you honestly think Tyson Fury is going to sit in the shelf and wait for Dillian White?
No.
No.
I think Tyson Fury will be parked up himself. He's saying he's going to fight in February, but he won't fight February, March. It's just chit chat. He ain't got 2 fights in him. You can't do the camps no more by looks for that. I think Tyson Fury is on the slide, mate. People might say he ain't. Look, he's probably still best out there. But I just think technique-wise and fitness-wise, I think he's reached the top of the mountain. He's still undefeated. And I think he's coming back down. That's why I think he changed his style. You don't see him up on his toes in late rounds no more, do you?
No, I think the fittest that Tyson Fury was ever with was when he was working with Peter in camp. He was, you know, I don't think the time that Tyson was with Peter, he was ever dropped. You know, the style was changed a bit more to make him a bit more evasive and a bit more elusive.
Yeah.
And he was very, very fit in those camps. But it's hard to say, you know. I think Tyson has got maybe one more fight left, and I think he's going to sit. I don't know. Does Tyson think that he's going to beat Joe Joyce and come through that fight unhurt, uninjured? Joe Joyce is a really, really hard heavyweight at the minute for anybody. No one's calling out Joe Joyce.
None of them. They don't even mention Joe Joyce's name. None of them, mate. Don't even mention his name.
So Joe Joyce, I think at the minute is rated. I think he's number 2 by the WBC. He's rated by the WBO. He's rated by the IBF, but he's not rated at all by the WBA. Even Mark Demore has got a higher rating in the WBA.
Mark Demore.
That's
Is that him from YouTube?
Yep, that's the WBA for you. But I think Tyson's going to wait and see what happens with as far as the rematch with Joshua and Usyk.
Do you think Joe Joyce was being avoided?
Absolutely. Why hasn't he got a world title fight? Why isn't anybody pushing him for him to get that world title fight?
Well, Jaffa cake, Ken.
Good carbohydrate.
2 Jaffa cakes and I'm full. I'm nearly full off one. I'll try 1.5. Starving. Which brings me on to Kell Brook. I'm in a clown. Go on, Ken. I'll let you sort this one.
Okay, so a lot of people were online yesterday giving the Kell Brook Amir Khan fight a lot of flack. And to be honest with you, I have said in the channel, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to know about it. Okay, I admit that. So you look at it and you see like Tommy Fury, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, all these YouTubers are coming into boxing and they're getting millions. They're getting, you know, pay-per-views. And okay, they're getting it. And to be quite honest with you, Amir Khan at 17 was a silver medalist in the Olympics. And he's beat, 8 world champions?
11 if you count Billy Dib. Hey, 11 wins and the other world champions if you count Billy Dib. Did he have an IBO or something?
Yeah, and the only people to beat him apart from world champions was Briedis Prescott. Kell Brook was a world champion. He won the world title away. At the time, I think he was the first British welterweight from Lloyd Honeyghan to go away and win a world title. So if they're going to come in and get a bit of money in the pot, Russell, I'm not gonna begrudge him off it.
Kell Brook beat 4 world champions, and he's the lesser name outside of Amir Khan, but the people wheeling Kell Brook out should be ashamed of themselves. But is this fight any worse than what's out there? But I don't really have a problem with fight no more. I've got it out of my system, and I'm just going to embrace it because Eddie Hearn's not involved. But it's at welterweight, isn't it? It's at welterweight. Yeah. Now, I remember meeting Amir Khan with Peter Fury in Bolton White, so tell him we had a chat with him. That trainer, did he die, that trainer? Yeah, the old guy, Goosen.
Joe Goosen, I think Joe Goosen's still alive, Russell.
Oh, did one of them die? The one who
Oliver Harrison, God rest him,
no,
was his first coach.
Ken. Did I mention Oliver Cat? No, I'm on about Goosens. Which one of them died? Dan Goosen died, didn't he?
The brother
who promoted Ward. Yeah, well, I met the other guy with Amir, and Amir were adamant, and that was 3 years ago. He were more than 3 years ago. He were adamant then if he fought Kell Brookett, we're going to be at welterweight. And he got his wish, didn't he? Because they're in control. They're getting the lion's share and they're dictating the terms because they've been round block, haven't they? Kell needs the fight, doesn't he? Khan doesn't need it, does he?
No.
He's getting the lion's share. Point I want to make is all that about it's dangerous for Kell. He gets beat, doesn't he, against he fights Golovkin. They say he's a middleweight anyway. He walks around at X amount of weight, 14 stone. He's never a welter. Gets beat. He then goes down to 147, but they said it was dangerous at that weight. He then fights Crawford, gets his face smashed in off Spence. He fights Crawford, gets stopped. Oh, it's still dangerous for him at 147. If he has another big fight, he'd have to be 154 or 160. He's taking another fight at 147. And all these people putting him in this fight, do they care for him? And his dad spoke elegantly, but he's going on about Amir Khan's been on problems with Kell's career. Let me tell you this. No, Kell's career, in my opinion, has been badly matched since he beat Sean Porter, which was a great win. He got the win, elite fighter. Jojo Dan Bizier, Frankie Gavin, fights like that. Then they chuck him in with Golovkin because they think they're out in wilderness. And then Errol Spence because you've got something to fall back on if you lose against Golovkin. 2 killers there. Who's looking out for Kell Brook in all this? Who's looking out for Kell Brook? He's now got to fight at 147 again. What's all that about? I thought it was dangerous for him. Why if his face gets smashed up again?
So the first thing that happens with malnutrition and things like that there is bone density weakens because there's no nutrients in the body. He had that terrible injury against Golovkin and he had that terrible injury against Spence. They've been saying for years, after every fight, we're going to move up. We're going to move up. He's naturalist. So they're constantly going back down to welterweight. I think it is a really, really bad move. And it shows you how much that they needed that fight because they agreed. Apparently now that there is actually sanctions on weight for this fight. So if you come in overweight, they're going to be penalized for being overweight. So for me, that is an absolute disaster for them. I think they're going to be in for it. They're really going to be in for a hard. You look at Khan yesterday. Khan's been training with Bomac for the last 8 weeks in Crawford. He's been sparring with Crawford. He was in training with camp, pre-camp. And you look at Brook yesterday, and you could see that he was a lot heavier now. 12 weeks. You think about the first 2 weeks are basic training, and you get the adoption after 2-week training. It takes 4 weeks. You've got over Christmas that they're going to need to get through. So it's going to be really, really hard for them, Russell. It's going to be a lot harder for them than it is going to be Khan.
Kell Brook's got to take £3 a week off for the next 3 months.
That's a lot. That's too much. Too much.
It should be £1, really.
£1, maybe £2, depending on your basic fitness. Get into it, basic fitness, what you've got water weight as well. But get into that fight, with the injuries he's had, and lots of weight loss and crash weight, and it dehydrates the brain as well. It dehydrates the brain. So I think Khan has got the best deal, the better deal out of it. And it's going to be a lot of pressure for Brook here over this next 12 weeks. A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Why did they take it? Why did they take it at welterweight?
Desperate people do desperate things. They got Ingle in his ear. Oh, he's going to want paying. The father will want his cut. Well, just pimp him out again at 147. A fight that they've all gone on record as saying it's dangerous for him to fight at that weight. So why are you putting him in that weight again? You said it's dangerous, didn't you?
It wasn't too long ago that they were actually talking about Brook actually going up and fighting Eubank Jr. at middleweight. And they said he could have been, you know, that was actually being spoke about. I think even Calla spoke about that. So it's going to be really, really hard for them.
Hang on, we'll just turn this light. It's going to be fucking edit.
I actually think that, you know, what's going to happen after this is, I don't know if it's on Sky. It's on Sky, right? And I wouldn't be surprised next if Khan wins this fight. This may seem crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if Khan called out Eubank Jr. and had a big fight with the winner of Eubank. And a brain freeze here. The winner of the Eubank fight there. And
about Kell Brook against Eubank.
Here of Khan, if Kell Brook wins that fight against Khan, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if either Brook Khan fights Eubank. That's if he comes through the Liam Williams fight. But the good thing about it is, Russell,
Sky.
Yeah. Eddie seems to think everything in boxing revolves around Eddie. You know, Khan came out yesterday and said that Eddie offered us more money, but I wanted the bigger platform.
No. What he meant is Eddie Hearn offered more money, but he wanted options on both winner and loser.
Probably a 3-fight option deal.
And they've said no, we're with Sky. Sky have probably got it all sewn up with them now. They're not retiring. They're making out they are. They're not retiring. They're just putting themselves back in shop window. I
can't see. I heard Khan yesterday saying that 35 now for a boxer. You know, he said that you look at Sean Porter losing last week to Crawford and look how well he did. He did, and even Crawford being in his mid-30s. So I can't see Amir Khan retiring for the next 5 years. I can see him fighting on, picking up wins here and there, fighting in likes of Saudi, getting what he can out of boxing. And, you know, you can't blame him if he's got 10 million for the Billy Dib fight. Why would you turn that down?
Billy fucking Dib. Jesus. Featherweight one, is super feather.
Yeah.
So you're fighting at what weight?
What was it? Welterweight.
Jeez. People talk to me about safety in boxing. It's a wild west, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, as I said about the fight being made at welterweight, I'm surprised the board are actually letting it go ahead and sanctioning it at welterweight whenever, you know, the amount of times that Dominic Ingle and Brook's dad have come out and said that, yeah, he's moving up after this. You know, we find it hard to make the weight. They're actually sanctioning it.
You know what happens when they say that? They all agree, yeah, he's going to move up. He's eating, he's fat as a pig Michelin man. Then offer comes in and they go, oh, I don't know about moving up now. I say, don't worry, Kel, Babby, we'll get you a nutritionist. But them nutritionists don't seem to be working, do they, when he's going down to 147? I think Kell Brook gets beat. I think he gets beat by Amir Khan. I think Amir Khan's too quick for him. And I think he'll punch him up. I think he'll damage him. I think as soon as Kell Brook gets hit in that face, I think that'll be it. I think Amir Khan probably hits as hard as Crawford. He's faster than Crawford. Kell Brook can get speed beats, timing beats speed, Babby. Yeah, it does, but it's not the same fighter they were. And I just think they'll not be bothered. They'll take the money and they'll go. And that's it. But we have to embrace it because Eddie Hills, the 4-0 Iceman from Billericay, free by way of, he's not involved in this fight. And I'm loving it. And Eddie's going to pour piss on this fight for the next 3 months.
Well, he's already come out and said that it's way, you know, the fight's happening, but the guys are past their best. Well, why did he why did he bid on it? Why has he been talking to the fighters for the last 18 months about making this fight? Why all of a sudden now are they past their best and the fight?
That's like people who leave comments in my comment section every single day. It's the same people leaving the same vile comments. Don't watch if you don't like it. That's what I say. And Eddie Hearn, if he thinks it's a shit fight, why bid on it? Or why watch? You know what I mean? That's what I say. But there's no funnier than folk, my grandma used to say to me years ago.
It just looks, it just looks to me that he's got a bit of sour grapes because he's left Sky, and now Sky have been able to deliver this fight that Eddie couldn't make. Eddie said that the Fury Joshua fight was made. He was talking about for 6 months that it was made and it was announced. He couldn't make that fight. He couldn't make Kell Brook and Amir Khan. So it just shows that a young promoter like Ben Shalom can come in and make that fight out of nowhere. It really was a surprise. It seemed to be he made that fight out of thin air, to be honest.
He tiptoes around about his work. He goes about his business quietly. There were no leaks about this presser and all that, where they all kept it in-house and all that, didn't they? They want Eddie there giving tidbits out to his mates in media, whether and stuff like that. I think that Ben conducted himself all right. So, well done, Ben. Whatever his name is, Ben, Scooby-Doo Ben, whatever he's called, Shalom or something. Good luck to him. And that other kid, that other kid next to him, sat next to Bean.
I seen he gave a couple of interviews yesterday. I didn't actually watch him, to be honest. I just watched the press conference and I watched the Amir Khan video after it, and I heard Kell Brook's dad give an interview as well. So I didn't actually click into him.
His dad giving interviews about how Kell schooled Amir Khan when they were amateurs.
Well, there were kids, there were children at the time. It doesn't have any relevance whatsoever now. They're both senior fighters. They've both been world champions. They've both fought world champions. It just depends now. I think the key to winning this fight is base fitness. Base fitness getting in the camp. And I think Amir Khan has that base over Brook at the minute. And to be honest, the Engel Gym have been on a bit of a rut recently. Liam Williams lost his fight. Willie Hutchison lost his fight. Kid Galahad got knocked unconscious in his fight. So they have been in a bit of a, boxing is ups and downs. You go through periods of where all your fighters are winning, then you go through periods of, fighters losing. It's not a reflection on the coach at all. It's just the way boxing works. So I think Khan will be getting into this fight very, very confident, more confident than ever and ever.
Okie dokie then. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, Kent. You're not going out for a run, are you?
No, I had a bit of a flu there a couple of weeks ago and I don't feel 100% yet. So I'm just doing a couple of runs and just mainly doing some gym sessions, a bit of functional training. That's it, a bit of swimming.
What do you do marathon in?
My best marathon was 3 years ago in Manchester and I ran 2:44. But I hit the wall at 24 miles and I was on for running, I think around 2:38, but I hit the wall the last 2 miles and walked and ran. It was shocking. And the distance, you could see the finish line. It was shocking, but that's my best. And I'm proud of it. I done my best.
Is that why you like a lot? Well, you're built like a lot, aren't you?
Well, it's a lot of endurance. So you're doing a lot of aerobic fitness. So you're always try to eat as clean as I can, to be honest. So
has anybody ever got 2 hours yet?
Well, Kipchoge broke 2 hours, but it wasn't an official marathon. It was a simulation. It wasn't, it wasn't race conditions. When Kipchoge broke the 2 hour barrier, he had like a 2K loop in Belgium, it was, and it was tarmac. They had pacers, they had like 8 pacers, and there was like a motorcade in front of them with a laser that pointed the shortest line to run, and they had the super shoes on as well. So that's not really race simulation. Race simulation is, in the middle of a race, you've got people pushing you and, outpacing you and all doing different tactics. You've got wind, you've got rain. Not everything's pancake flat. You've got a lot of dead corners. So I think it's going to be a while before somebody does it officially in a race simulation.
Okay, then. All right then. Well, listen, we spoke eloquently today. Thanks for coming on, Ken. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
You're welcome.
And I will speak to you later. All right, my friend.
Take care, everybody.
This is going to go out tomorrow, Ken. All right, 1st of December, because they've had 46 videos. We've had 46 videos in November because I had to make up for them, didn't I? In Leeds. In Leeds. I had to make up for the missing ones in October because I wasn't very well on about. I go Leeds tomorrow to the Helmets. That'll be out Friday, so that'll be a good one.
You're back on the Porky Express, Russell. So you are.
Doing my best.
You've got a bit of weight on you again. You look a lot healthier.
Yeah, I've put 1 pound on in 2 weeks.
Are you still drinking the Complan drinks?
No, it's hard work, like. Go straight through your system as well. That makes you go to the toilet.
Well, it's good to see you, back on and looking a lot healthier and enjoying your boxing again and being a lot healthier. It's good to see.
Thank you very much, Ken. All
Take
the
care,
best.
Russell.
You take care. Cheers, mate. Bye. Well, that was Kent from Ireland. He knows a bit about boxing, doesn't he, Ken? You've got to give him his dues. I bet he reads boxing news every week, like I used to. Well, this will be out tomorrow, 1st of December. And there's a members one out tomorrow as well. So we're already 2 in front for December. All right. It's Big John Fury here. Women love me. Men want to be me. Peace out. Pop, pop, bam. End of bone.